Hello everyone, I'm back, as promised, with a very quick video on this very short tome, Little Wizard Stories of Oz. Or as I like to have decided to start calling them, Little Horror Stories of Oz. There's not really a lot to say about these. There's 6 of them. All of them have something horrific about them. These are much closer in tone to the actual European fairy tales that Baum strove so hard to get away from. And from what I've come to understand, even the original, the publishers at, I think it's still Riley and Britain at that point, said, we need to tone this down. And they were even toned down further from what they were originally. Still pretty scary. So it's a collection of 6 stories. The Cowardly Lion and the Hungry Tiger, Little Dorothy and Toto, Tik-Tok and the Gnome King, Ozma and the Little Wizard, Jack Pumpkinhead and the Sawhorse, and the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman. Truth be told, I read these all in an evening. They kind of all blur together. The Cowardly Lion and the Hungry Tiger's basic plot is they're tired of being looked at as cute ornamental pets, and they're going to finally cause some mayhem and mischief, but then they back out in the long run. Because, as the Hungry Tiger says, if I ate a baby, then I wouldn't be hungry, and therefore I could not be the Hungry Tiger. And the Cowardly Lion can't rip somebody up because, well, he's a coward, so he can't do it. Little Dorothy and Toto is at extreme odds with most of the Baum books, because in it, the entire point is that the wizard doesn't want Dorothy to wander around the fairyland by herself because it's dangerous, because she's captured by Crinkle-Ink, an evil creature who is going to force her to do kitchen duties for the rest of her life. Until fortunately Dorothy discovers that it's just the wizard in a disguise. Tik-Tok and the Gnome King suggests that the Gnome King is still pretty happy and pleasant after his visit with the Forbidden Fountain. Tik-Tok goes to visit him, because they're old friends, apparently now, and Tik-Tok accidentally falls apart, and the Gnome King is tormented thinking that he's killed Tik-Tok. Ozma and the Little Wizard shows Ozma and the Wizard traveling across Oz, tormented by 3 imps. Little Scarecrow and Tin Woodman, not so much really to say there, but it's Scarecrow and Tin Man misadventures. Perhaps, though, the most disturbing is the story involving Jack Pumpkinhead and the Sawhorse. Now, you would think that given that they're 2 relatively popular, relatively mundane characters that have been around for a while, that they'd know what they're doing. Well, Ozma sends them to find these 2 children that are lost in the woods, and it ends up, when he goes to rescue them, which he does, they've been captured by squirrels, a branch ends up falling on Pumpkinhead's head and splitting it open. And then his headless body wanders around. Yeah, now here it is currently attached to the back of the Sawhorse, but wanders around until he's kind of rescued. Holy hell, Frank! This is not Oz! No! The best thing that can be said about these is they have some there's some very lovely and lively artwork by John R. Neal. That is all that can really be said about these. Now, Little Wizard came about, I think I mentioned in the last video, as a way to sort of bring younger audiences into Oz, and to get it going, as a promotion before the publication of Patchwork Girl. So this is the summer of 1913. They were published in individual books for 15 cents a piece. I have genuinely no idea how many of these original ones still exist. I'm assuming probably not many. I will probably never own one in my life, unfortunately. But honestly, I think I'm kind of okay with it. Baum was dissatisfied with Neal's artwork. He had been for a while, and he actually really enjoyed blaming Neal when a book didn't do well. And he actually wanted someone like Winsor McCay to do the illustrations. There was that tension. The original Dorothy and Toto, Toto was going to kill Crinkle-Ink, and the Tik-Tok and the Gnome King was going to veer a little bit too much into the ghost of Banquo territory from Macbeth. Yeah. So anyway, in 1913 they printed those 6. In 1932 they reissued them in 2 box sets, each with 2 jigsaw puzzles and 2 storybooks. You could get Tick-Tock and the Gnome King and Osmond the Little Wizard. I'm not sure how they were... Or excuse me, it was Osmond the Little Wizard bundled with Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman. And then Jack Pumpkinhead and the Sawhorse combined with Tick-Tock and the Gnome King. They did not reprint Little Dorothy or Cowardly Lion and Hungry Tiger. Then in 1933, Jell-O reissued them, reissued 4 books, or the same 4 books. So Jell-O reissued them about 1933, and then in 1939, Rand McNally reissued them as tie-ins to the film. And they stuck around for a little while, it seems like. There were British editions, and then in 1914 as well, they were all combined into 1 volume. In 1985, there was a reprint. In 1994, which is the one I was reading from, it was reprinted by the Books of Wonder / Morrow. Although it's not a terribly faithful one. And then Dover actually reprinted it in the early 2000s. Dover did a slightly more faithful one in that, interestingly, in this one, all of the text was originally printed in blue ink instead of black. So that's kind of Little Wizard of the Stories of Oz. Yeah. Like I said, not really a lot to say. Got some relatively nice artwork by Neil. Some pretty terrifying stories. And I guess the other good thing you can say about it is you can read it in an hour. So there you go. Definitely not... I'm going to classify these much like Bienvenue does, and much like I think most of the Oz community does, as being extra canonical. But because they were written by Baum, they get a pass into the world. So there we go. So now we have done just like the little children would have in 1913, and we can start in tonight on the Patchwork Girl of Oz, which I am super excited about. This one's got a lot... This one, to some degrees, is just a rewrite of Wizard, but it's a lot of fun, and you get Patchwork Girl, and she's pretty awesome. And it introduces several characters that will show up throughout the rest of the series. So... yeah. Anyhow, I guess that's it from me. I will see you all towards the end of the month. Congratulations if you made it through Little Wizard. If you didn't, please do not feel like I'm going to pressure you to ever go out and read those. This isn't like the rest of the series where I feel like everyone should read it. Keep it in your bathroom, maybe? I don't know. Up to you. I'll see you all later.